There is a type of man who walks into a room and something changes. Not loudly, not obviously. The air just shifts. Women notice him, not because he's performing, not because he's chasing anything, not because he said the perfect thing. He carries something, a weight, a stillness, a signal, felt before a single word is spoken, that says, "This man has already decided who he is." And that quiet certainty, that invisible force field around him, is what unlocks women's desire at a level deeper than thought, deeper than reason, deeper than anything they'll ever fully explain. Today, we are going to build that, from the ground up, every single piece of it. If this kind of content resonates with you, think about subscribing and hitting like. It helps me keep bringing you more of this. I'm going to walk you through 6 traits that build the aura of a dangerous man and explain exactly why women will always be drawn to this type, no matter what they say in public. Let's start with the first trait, the one that sets every other element in motion and makes you immediately different from every other man in the room. Stillness. Real, unshakable stillness. This is the foundation. Without it, nothing else we build today will hold its shape. Picture a wolf watching from the shadows without moving a muscle. Not tense, not restless, fully aware of everything around it, but giving nothing away. That is what stillness looks like on a man, and it is one of the rarest things a woman will ever encounter. Most men leak energy constantly. They talk too fast. They laugh a half-second too early. They explain themselves before anyone has asked a single question. And every single time that happens, every nervous gesture, every rushed reply, every word that fills silence out of discomfort, power bleeds out. Quietly, invisibly. But women pick it up instantly. Now think about this directly. When you're in a room with a woman you're attracted to, what happens in your body? Do you feel the urge to fill every gap in the conversation? Do you laugh a little too easily at things that aren't that funny? Do you rush to explain yourself the moment she gives you a slightly neutral look? If yes, you're leaking, and she feels every drop of it. The dangerous man does the opposite. He moves with deliberate slowness. When she goes quiet, he lets the silence breathe. He doesn't rush to rescue the moment. And that stillness creates a gravitational pull she cannot name but absolutely feels. It says, "This man is not rattled. This man is not managing himself. This man is somewhere else entirely on the inside, rooted, settled, immovable." Machiavelli taught us that a man who cannot control his own composure cannot control anything around him. He wrote that leaders who show visible anxiety signal weakness, and weakness is an open invitation for others to challenge, test, and eventually dismiss you. The moment you lose your stillness in front of a woman, you hand over something you cannot easily take back. Think of a man you've observed who naturally has this quality. That guy at a social event who barely raises his voice, barely moves, but somehow women in the room have glanced at him at least once without knowing why. He's not doing anything spectacular. He's doing almost nothing. And that nothing is everything. Build the stillness first. Move slower. Let silence sit. Stop filling every gap with reassurance. The foundation goes in before anything else. But what comes next is where it starts to get really interesting. Now let's talk about the second trait. The one that, once a woman feels it in you, triggers something in her instincts she didn't choose and cannot easily explain. It's outcome independence. The genuine, unperformed ability to not need things to go a certain way. Imagine a chessboard where every move is silent but deadly. The dangerous man plays that board calmly, whether he wins or loses this particular exchange. There is no desperation attached to any single moment, and women feel that absence of desperation like a physical sensation. Here's where this becomes personal for you. Think about the last time you were really interested in a woman. Be honest. Were you checking your phone more than usual? Were you adjusting what you said based on how she seemed to receive it? Were you replying within 60 seconds every time, no matter what you were doing? If yes, you were running a background calculation the whole time. Does she like me? Is this going well? Did that land? And that calculation was leaking through everything you did. She felt it, even if she never said a word about it. The real truth is this: women don't fall for men who need them. They fall for men who choose them. When she senses that you need her approval to feel okay, something switches off inside the feminine nature. Not cruelly, just naturally. Because need is not attractive. It is a weight. And she doesn't want to be someone's anchor. Now imagine the opposite. When she cancels on you last minute, you reply with 2 words and you mean them. When she goes cold for a day, you don't notice because you genuinely had other things going on. When she tests your reaction, there is no reaction to test, because your world didn't pause. That version of you, the one whose world keeps moving regardless, that is the version that wakes something up inside her. According to Machiavelli, a prince who attaches all his hopes to a single outcome becomes a prisoner of that outcome. He wrote that fortune is like a river in flood. It destroys those who haven't built solid banks to contain it. Outcome dependence means you have no banks. You drown every time one situation doesn't go your way. And she watches you drown. And she loses attraction in real time. Here's the third trait. And this one separates the men women genuinely respect from the men women slowly stop believing in. It is the ability to hold your position under social pressure. To have a frame that bends for real logic, but never for discomfort. As if a quiet storm is building behind calm eyes. That is what it looks like on the outside when a man simply will not be moved. Not aggressive, not defensive. Just anchored. Here's where you need to hear this personally. Imagine she challenges something you said. Not a serious disagreement, just a push, a test. She raises an eyebrow, crosses her arms slightly, says, "Really? I don't know about that." What do you do? Most men immediately soften. "Well, I guess I could see it differently." And in that exact moment, that single half-second of folding, something shifts in her perception of you. It may be invisible, but it registers, and it doesn't unhappen. The dangerous man listens. He considers. He's genuinely open to being wrong. But if, after hearing everything, he still sees it differently, he says so. Calmly, without apology, without that slight upward inflection in his voice that turns every statement into a question waiting for approval. He says what he thinks, and then he's done with it. No over-explanation, no backpedaling. Done. Here's what really happens when you hold your frame in that moment. She may not agree. She might even push back harder. But underneath the surface, something in the feminine nature registers. This man cannot be easily moved. And that, whether she admits it or not, is deeply attractive. Because a man whose word means something, whose position doesn't shift with the social weather, is a man she can trust. And trust is the soil that feminine desire grows in. Machiavelli had the wisdom to say that the man who bends to every pressure reveals to those around him exactly where to push next time. He wrote that a man without a fixed internal position becomes entirely predictable, and predictable men are controlled men. If she learns early that pressure moves you, she will apply pressure constantly, not out of malice, simply because humans naturally test the things they're uncertain about. Let me paint you a full picture here, because I want you to see these first 3 traits working together at the same time, in one real scene. Picture a man in his early 30s. Let's call him Marcus so the image is crisp. Marcus is, on paper, completely ordinary. Regular job, regular life, nothing spectacular on the outside. But something happens around Marcus in social settings that doesn't happen around other men. Women notice him, not dramatically, but consistently. One evening, at a dinner, a woman he'd been seeing casually showed up with another man, clearly designed to provoke a reaction. Jealousy, withdrawal, overcompensation, something. Every other man in that room would have felt the sting, the instinct to perform indifference too loudly, or worse, let the hurt show. Marcus noticed. Of course he noticed. But here's exactly what he did. He continued the conversation he was already in, with full attention and genuine warmth, as though the scene behind him was simply background noise in a restaurant he happened to be eating at. Not cold, not shut down, just completely unaffected. Later, when she approached him, he was easy, warm, asked about her week. When she tried to nudge the topic toward the other man, fishing for a reaction, Marcus looked at her, almost amused, and said, "You seem like you're having a good time," and moved on. She texted him after midnight, not because he ignored her, not because he played a game, but because at every single moment that evening, every moment the situation tried to pull him into a reaction, he chose his own state instead. He was the calm, immovable center of his own world. And the feminine nature, whether it ever admits this out loud, orbits that kind of center like a planet orbits a star. What comes next, the final 3 traits, is what builds that kind of man from the inside out. The 4th trait is one the modern world has almost completely erased from men, and its absence is one of the most common reasons feminine desire dies before it even starts. Real scarcity. Not the performance of being busy. The honest, natural scarcity of a man with a full life. Here's the thing most guys miss completely. The moment you become fully available to a woman, always reachable, always free, always reorganizing your week to match her schedule, you hand her a picture of your world. And that picture says, she is the most important event in it. And what she feels, somewhere beneath the surface, is not flattered. She feels that she is filling something empty. And filling emptiness is not attraction. It is obligation. And obligation slowly suffocates the feminine desire. So ask yourself honestly, when a woman you like becomes available, do you clear your calendar? Do you reply within 30 seconds every time? Do you drop plans to match hers? If yes, you're not showing interest. You're showing her how small your world is without her in it. And that kills attraction faster than any mistake you could make. The dangerous man is genuinely hard to reach, not because he's running a strategy, but because he has somewhere to be. A mission, a routine he protects. People in his life he shows up for. Work that matters to him. And when she understands that she is entering a life already in motion, that she is an addition to something full, not the answer to something empty, everything shifts. Machiavelli taught us that a prince who makes himself too accessible loses the authority that distance builds. He wrote that the things men work for, wait for, and earn, those are the things they honor. What is freely given without effort is taken without thought. 5 centuries have passed since he wrote that. Human nature hasn't moved an inch. Visualize this scene. 2 men are pursuing the same woman. The first clears his weekend the moment she's free, texts back instantly, adjusts everything without hesitation. The second replies when he's done with what he was already doing, has plans he doesn't cancel, takes time to confirm because he genuinely had to check. The first man feels safe. The second man feels interesting. She talks about the second one, not the first. Even though, perhaps precisely because, the first one is far more invested. The real truth is simple. Your time is either precious or it's free. You decide which one it is by how you treat it, long before she forms an opinion about it. Now let's go into the fifth trait, the one that operates completely below the level of conscious thought. In every interaction you have with women, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And more powerfully, how much you don't say. Like a chessboard where every move is silent but deadly, the dangerous man's words carry weight because there are never too many of them. Each sentence lands because there is real space around it. Here's where this hits you directly. Think about the last time you asked a woman to meet you, or expressed an opinion she seemed to question. Did you hedge? Did you add phrases like, "I mean if you want," or "no pressure at all," or I know it might sound strange, but every word you added to soften the ask was a signal. And that signal says, "I am not sure I have the right to want this. Please pre-approve my request before I finish making it." And she reads that signal instantly, not consciously, but it registers. When she questions something you said, and you instantly start qualifying, softening, walking it back, she doesn't feel respected by your flexibility. She feels the absence of a spine. And that absence is one of the most reliable ways to destroy the feminine desire before it even forms. The dangerous man speaks differently. Short statements, clean invitations, no escape routes built in. When he wants something, he says so directly. When he's uncertain, he says that plainly too, without dressing it in 10 layers of cushioning. His language is clean, and because of that economy, every word carries actual weight. She'll never say it out loud, but when a woman encounters a man who speaks this way, something wakes up inside her. It registers as self-trust, as certainty, as a man who knows what he wants and trusts that what he offers is worth considering. That alone, communicated purely through sentence structure, shifts the entire dynamic. Machiavelli would recommend that a man of real influence speak plainly and briefly, that excess words dilute the force of any message, and that a man who cannot say a thing simply has not yet decided what he thinks. In The Prince, he wrote that great men communicate their intentions cleanly, and that the clarity of a man's speech reflects the clarity of his mind. Women read that clarity instantly, and they respond to it at the level of instinct. Think about that for a second. Not what you said, how you said it. That's where the real power lives. And now we arrive at the sixth trait, the one I promised at the very beginning, the one most men will resist, and the one that, once you carry it, makes every other element click into place permanently. A dangerous man is comfortable being misread. Wait 2 seconds. Let that actually land. He doesn't chase correct perception. When a woman misreads his silence as coldness, he doesn't rush to correct it. When she interprets his independence as distance, he doesn't explain himself. When the room doesn't fully understand him, he is at peace with that. He carries his truth quietly, like a deep river that shows only its surface, and he is completely settled with the fact that not everyone will see what lies beneath. Here's where this becomes real for you. Think about how much energy you've spent in your life making sure women understood you correctly. Clarifying your intentions, correcting a wrong impression, explaining what you meant. Every time you did that, every time you chased the correct perception, you handed over the most powerful thing you had, the open question, the layer she hadn't reached yet. And once the picture is complete, once every question is answered, the search is over. And when the search is over, so is the pull. The hidden part of feminine nature that almost nobody talks about honestly. Women don't lose sleep over men they've fully figured out. They lose sleep over men who remain, somehow, just beyond complete understanding. Not because those men are cold or withholding strategically, but because they have genuine depth, an inner world that resists easy summary. And they are too busy living in that world to manage how it appears from the outside. So the next time she misreads something about you, resist the urge to correct it. Let the question sit. Let her wonder. That wondering is not a problem. That wondering is the most valuable thing you can have in her mind. Machiavelli taught us that the prince who reveals everything about himself, his plans, his fears, his full reasoning, gives those around him every tool they need to control him. He wrote that transparency without power is simply vulnerability on display, and vulnerable men, regardless of their intentions, do not command feminine desire. Full visibility is full control. Mystery is freedom. And freedom, the sense that this man cannot be fully predicted, fully held, fully read, is what makes a man genuinely, irresistibly dangerous. If you're still here, you already feel the truth in this. You've met a man like this at some point, and you remember him, not because he was the loudest or the most impressive, but because he was never entirely solved. That's the man we've been building today. So let's run through everything one more time, because these 6 traits form a single system, and each one amplifies all the others. Stillness, the slow, deliberate, unshakable presence that signals to every woman nearby that you have nothing to prove and nowhere to be but exactly here. Outcome independence, the genuine freedom of a man who operates from preference, not need, so that no single moment with any woman has the power to shake him. Holding the frame, the quiet certainty of a man whose position doesn't reshape itself under social pressure, whose word carries weight because it doesn't change with the weather. Real scarcity, the natural result of a full life, where access to your time is something earned, not freely given to anyone who shows interest. The economy of your words, speaking less, meaning more, letting directness do what 100 qualifiers never could. And finally, the comfort of being misread, carrying your depth quietly, letting the open question work for you, and never surrendering the mystery that keeps feminine desire reaching. These are not techniques. They are not a mask. They are a way of being, built slowly, in small moments nobody is watching, until the man who carries all of this becomes inevitable. If this opened your eyes and you're serious about becoming the man who's in full control of his life, my book is now available. The Undeniable Man, Built to be Chosen. It's a strategic guide for men who want to attract, lead, and dominate in their love life and beyond. Whether you're single or in a relationship, no fluff, no tricks, just pure, powerful strategy that will set you apart from 99% of men, and that you will actually use every day. The link is in the description. And if this video spoke to you, don't just keep it to yourself. Write a comment. Even if you don't know what to say, just type, "Let's build," or "Time to execute." Let that be your reminder to move, not just think. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this content. Share it with someone who, in your eyes, needs it right now. Trust your instinct. We're all trying to get clearer, more solid inside. So let's build minds that don't break.